So the Jonathan Kuminga experience is almost over, depending on when they actually do trade him. The eligibility opens up a week from today, actually. The 15th is next Thursday. And that is the first time that they are able to make a trade with him. That doesn't mean that that's going to be the day that it happens. It has to happen this year by the trade deadline, or else it won't happen again until the offseason. But where are you with the Kuminga conversation? And do you think this thing is going to get done sooner than later?
Where else is there to be in the Kuminga conversation? Like, what other avenues, what other takes can you have about it? Like, he needs to get moved.
I mean, I see some takes where they're like, why isn't he playing? Like, there is that take. There's not. I don't think. I think there's the smallest amount of people left on Kuminga Island right now, though, in the history of Jonathan Kuminga.
Has it been officially reported that he just also doesn't want to play for this team anymore? Like he doesn't plan on doing it. Remember that OKC game that I went to? That was opportunity for him to get extended run, and he had the late back injury that Kerr seemed to know nothing about. So, is this like? I don't think he's ever going to play for this team again, even if he can. Like, even if Kerr puts him in, like, I don't think he's going to play.
We haven't seen a report.
I thought I maybe saw something on Twitter of someone just guessing, but I mean, this thing needs to get done as soon as possible. It needs to get done on the 15th, but I don't think it will. I think it'll drag a little bit. Just everything's felt like it's dragged with this. Like, literally since he's been a rookie, everything's felt like it's dragged. So I imagine that that's probably going to be the case here. I don't think it gets done on the day of the deadline. Like, I hope it gets done sooner, but I think kind of your point earlier, how it's felt like a malaise. I felt like these past 2 years have felt like that, in terms of, we know it's not serious until the deadline. Mm-hmm. Like, sure, it matters right now. Like, they're 2018, they're putting themselves in a position to maybe make another run like they did last year, but it genuinely feels like, this team is a first round exit, but we'll see what happens after the trade deadline. If there's any substantial moves made. And that's how I felt last year. So it feels like we're in that position again. Dunleavy's got to make some magic, and you have this guy who makes 20, 25, whatever he's making. Like, let's see who you can get. And so, I mean, I hope it gets done as soon as possible, but it's just interesting to me, like, what teams would want him?
Yeah, like, what are the deals that are even out there? There was the report by Anthony Slater that said that his trade equity, or his value, has actually gone down, and that in the offseason, part of the Kings package was a protected pick, and now they've pulled that protected pick, according to his report. So that is how far his value has gone down, at least based on the eyes of the Sacramento Kings. We haven't heard. It's not like there's a report every day that says this team is interested in Jonathan Kuminga. It's been a small number of teams. We've heard about the Kings. There was some stuff on Plus Minus with Tim and was it Danny Emmerman? And they were talking about trade possibilities, and there's always the Jeremy Grant one that is out there. Portland is not far off from the Warriors right now, by the way, in a dead season for them. They're only like a couple games behind the Warriors in the race for the playoffs.
And they own the tiebreaker, surely. They've beaten them 3 times.
They kill them every single time. So what have you heard? Has there been ones that are out there as far as, reports, even bad reports? Because I haven't seen any knowledgeable NBA reporters that we trust go on the record as saying what Kuminga is worth, or who's interested in him. So that's what I'm saying. It just feels like it's all guesswork, but we know that there was a Sacramento Kings interest last year. And maybe that still exists, but I just like, what is the value? What do you think the Warriors could actually get for him?
Wasn't there like some, some type of credible reporter saying something about a Warriors Anthony Davis thing, and that Dallas actually likes Kuminga?
Every time Anthony Davis is mentioned with the Warriors, it says there is interest, but it's unlikely. That's that every story that I've seen mentioning Davis, it just says it's unlikely. And I'm guessing because the Warriors don't want to put a bunch of picks in for somebody who will possibly get hurt. Though if you subtract 5 or 6 years, he's like the perfect player that the Warriors would have loved to have grabbed back in the day. But they were already winning championships, so they didn't have to make a trade like that back then, like the Lakers did for that bubble season. But he would have been the perfect player. Like, I think, people would have dreamed for an Anthony Davis and Steph Curry team up. But today, not the same Anthony Davis. This dude messed up his eye last year. He on Christmas Day against the Warriors, he was just running, and all of a sudden he's out of the game because he hurt his groin. So that's why he's available.
This is a Warriors team that's kind of already dealt with, the worries of having an older roster. And, Draymond's held up. I think Jimmy's missed a game here and there, but you had that Steph extended absence. You barely have had Horford this year. So, I mean, I think just doing that is just like literally hoping that, you hit blackjack like 5 times in a row at the casino if you get Anthony Davis, because you just need him to stay healthy and when it matters most. But I don't think it's not seeming like it's going to be something that's like, Jimmy Butler like last year. It feels like it's going to be something more muted, but I think it's still going to help. So, I mean, yeah, listening to Kawakami and Emmerman talk about who Emmerman thinks, it was just like the most unsexy conversation ever, because he's just talking about like
role players.
Jay Huff?
Yeah,
Jay
my
Huff?
guy. Our guy from the Summer League years and years ago. We're like, who is this guy?
Oh, man. Jeremy Grant, I think, would suck, because I think he's on the books for like 3 years at a high number, or what was a high number when he signed. I don't know what that looks like now.
At least he could score. The problem would be, and maybe if you believe in your defense, because the Warriors still technically are a really good defense, though I wonder how much that has to do with kind of how slow they play these days. Like they do not play like some of these younger, faster teams. So I wonder how much of that is related to their defensive metrics. But they're like a top 5 defense, and then they're like a bottom 10 offense.
Yeah, I think I just checked it right now, and just off of rating, they're 8th in defense, and they are like 19th in offense. 19th in offense, 8th in defense, 19th in offense. And I wonder how much, like, if their offense was better, like by a little bit, like, does it get easier to play defense? Because it feels like you're always playing defense on defense. Like you're just like, playing because of a bad offensive trip, and you're kind of playing at a disadvantage already. So I wonder, having a better offense, gets you into more of a set defense, and then you can even be better at defense with a better offense. But you've heard the Michael Porter.
Yeah, the Michael Porter Jr. thing is the one, but like last year, he was not to say that he was the fall guy in Denver, but it's not like they won the title with Michael Porter Jr. last year. Like, they played really well. And he's a guy who the fit seems to be really, really good, but then he's also got the injury stuff. And then it's quite possible he might also be a little bit of a knucklehead, but he's just a young dude. So, I mean, I would swing for it, but how many picks do you give up, which is the question, because that's what Brooklyn is searching for if they're going to trade him. Is they're searching for picks. That's what they want. And the Warriors, they could give up some, but you're basically going all out for these last few years, and you're sacrificing everything, which I think a lot of fans would be fine with that, because they just want to see some winning basketball at the end of these Steph years.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think those Warriors draft picks should be very highly valued post Steph. Just, of course, anything could happen, and they can just get lucky in free agency, and like, then those picks aren't as good. But like, you don't know that now, and you think when Steph's gone, this team's gonna suck. So those draft picks teams should value them highly. And if I'm the Warriors, like, I'm with you. Like, I'm with all the fans too. Like, we should be willing to give these up to chase something at the last Steph years. Like, it's insane that he's still playing like this. So, you've heard the Michael Porter Jr., you've heard the Trey Murphy. Like, those to me, like, feel like my dream pickups.
You would go Trey over MPJ though, right?
Probably. But there's just something about the way that MPJ is scoring the ball right now that's just like the Warriors need that. Like Steph's going insane. When Jimmy Butler gets the ball and he's assertive, like I think good things happen. But there's just so many guys on this roster that start Quentin Post and Moses Moody that are like, if I could describe it, like they're the ending of a Warriors offensive possession. If we could like split Warriors offensive possessions up into 3 phases, like there's the start when Steph Curry has the ball and he either has the opportunity to come off of a screen and shoot, but most likely he's coming off of a screen and passing to a Draymond or a Guy Santos in the middle of a possession because he's getting doubled. They're sending 2 at Steph. So now we're in phase 2 of the Warriors offense, and Draymond and Guy can either pass the ball to the corner, go up with a shot, or pass the ball to a cutter. And phase 3 is where I feel like the ball usually ends up in a wide open Moses Moody or Quentin Post on the left corner. And I just feel like that's where they have to be. If you think about who they are as players, like they obviously can't be phase 1 because Steph's the reason they're getting that attention. Phase 2, like I don't feel like they're confident with the ball in their hands to make a play there. They have to be these stationary shoot, and that's all they could do. Like if Moses Moody gets the ball, he's not going to take someone off the dribble. He's just literally a catch and shoot shooter, and it's slow too. So it's frustrating when he actually has the ball, and most people could put up a shot, but his shot is slow and he knows it. So they're able to close out, and then he has to stop and think about what to do. Plays over. So I feel like they need more people that can be dynamic with the ball in their hands, like a Melton.
And you can tell Steph wants him to start too. Like just hearing what he's saying at the presser. And Steve is pretty adamant that he is still a 25 minutes per game guy. And there may be some opportunities in the near future to push him to 30. But also they want Melton to be there for the playoffs, wherever they land in the playoffs. And if you push him too hard now, then maybe he doesn't make it to the playoffs. So I get that mentality.
I understand that. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, when you just have 2 guys like Moses and Quentin that like, I don't think they're bad players by any means. I just don't think they're starter caliber players, and they're so limited to what they can provide offensively. Just having a guy like Michael Porter Jr. who can, just do so many things on offense so like well, like I think that would just be a breath of fresh air for this Warriors team that it's kind of tough to watch them on offense sometimes. And it really looks like when I went to that OKC game, especially in an OKC game that you look back on and it's like, if they kind of went for it, like, could they have beaten this team that struggles, that loses by a ton against Charlotte, goes OT to the last possession against Utah? Like, could the Warriors have snuck a game there if they actually played Steph, Dre, and Jimmy? Like, maybe. But, of course, the OKC is the gold standard, but it's just OKC does one thing, and then they have the Warriors on their back foot, and they are just so good at capitalizing when a team's on their back foot. Like, for the Warriors, so basically their buckets come easy, the Warriors' buckets come hard. But the Warriors can get a team on their back foot because you have Stephen Curry, and it's how do you take advantage once a team's on their back foot? And they just don't have many guys who could take advantage of when that happens. So I'd like all this to say, like, yes, Trey Murphy, because he could shoot from 3, he could shoot deep, and he plays a little bit of defense. But just having Michael Porter Jr., who's a better offensive player than Trey, like maybe that is the way. But we're saying this and we don't even know if Kuminga like can net you with any of these guys. I've said since the start, I don't know why New Orleans would want to get rid of Trey. Maybe if it just gets them a ton of draft picks, maybe, but I don't see how Kuminga helps their team. And you have, Derek Queen's kind of playing well, not like he's had spurts, and then Zion's kind of starting to play well too. It's like, why wouldn't you want Trey Murphy on that team?
You know who they have coming back for that team too?
DeJounte
Murray. And the only reason I know that is because he's sitting on the IR on my fantasy basketball team.
Yeah.
So it's going to be to get an MPJ or a Trey Murphy. And Kuminga seems like it. I can't imagine these teams going like, you know what? That guy's going to be great right now, because some of it is, okay, the Warriors haven't done a great job at really creating opportunities for these young players. But some of it is also like, how, if you believe he's a winning player and the Warriors have been a winning team, they haven't been a championship team since his rookie season, but how does he not fit? Like, that is the thing that I would be really worried about if I was trading for him. In some instances, you might talk yourself into, well, Kerr doesn't like him. And if Kerr doesn't like him, he's going to lean towards vets and they just don't do a good job there. I could see that. And maybe they're right. But the other side of that is, well, couldn't Kuminga, if Kuminga is good, shouldn't he have fit in some way and helped the team, even if he wasn't going to be like a top 2 or 3 player on the team? I think that's an argument that I would be a little worried to trade for him about. And also, if more than one player has to go, if it's Kuminga and then somebody else from this roster, who is that somebody else? Is it Moody?
I think it's Buddy.
Buddy also getting no run. So you're trading 2 guys who are continuously getting DNPs, and those guys are going to be valuable trade pieces.
At this point, I guess it's just money then, and then the picks are what you're really trading.
Yeah.
And that's what the cherry on top is. Like,
I
mean, I think
like, though, with the way Melton is playing, if I'm another team, I might try and steal Melton from the Warriors.
Then you have to start.
I guess it would depend where you are. If you are a playoff budding team, maybe like Portland, then you might want someone like Melton. But if you're the Pelicans or if you're Brooklyn, then you don't really care because Melton's only on a 1-year deal anyways.
Do you think, the 3 teams that I feel like have registered semi-interest in Kuminga, like I feel like I've seen some type of reports, are Sacramento, New Orleans, and Brooklyn? And do you think they all 3 look at each other and do the Spider-Man pointing meme and we're all not smart teams? Should we be seeing something if we're the only 3 teams that are interested in Kuminga? I think they have a combined 5 to 7 playoff appearances since I start to have memories of basketball. They've just been bad my whole life.
So what you're saying is somebody from the Warriors needs to leak that Denver is interested in Jonathan Kuminga.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what needs to happen.
I mean, that is part of the thing, right? Is this is also why I'm not really sure. The Warriors may have to take 75 cents on the dollar here because they've created this problem for themselves. And it was the whole standoff thing. It was the whole restricted free agency thing. We believe you have value, and thus we're not going to acquiesce to something that is beneficial to you and not beneficial for us. But now it may actually turn the other way. Maybe he was a bigger trade chip in the offseason.
Oh, he totally was. I think that's out of the question now. I think, and I think Steve plays a part into this, into tanking his value. But I mean, I think Kirk couldn't have been more clear of just based on what he's done in the past, nothing's going to change here. And they were still oh, let's put him back on this roster. So, the numbers still look good. It's funny, looking at this starting lineup that Kerr made a point to be we're going to roll out with Moody, Post, Steph, Jimmy, and Dre, and that's going to be our starting lineup. That lineup's still a -17. Most of Kuminga's lineups with our top guys are in the plus. So it's, I think it's clear now that his value is for sure less than what it was in the summer because he hasn't played basketball. Why? It's the what did you do for me yesterday league. That's kind of how your value is based. So of course it's going to suck. I think maybe doing what you got for the what they got for Wiseman sure ends up feeling like a steal at this point. It was 4 second-round picks that turned into GP, which at the time felt like you were getting 1 cent on the dollar.
Mm-hmm.
I just hope it doesn't end up like that with Kuminga, where it's we literally just got I guess there's not many teams that could just take on $25 million without giving anything back, but of a dollar value. But yeah, getting kind of nothing back for Kuminga just to clear a salary spot doesn't that would be a worst case scenario.
Do you think let's say they don't get any value or they don't get the value that they want from him and they're going to be stubborn about him and they're going to hold him? So you're basically saying we are running it to the end with the squad that we have now. The theory would be, well, if you look at the end of last season, when we played well together, we showed what we could do. Now it's Al instead of Kevon. And look, I think the hope also is that Al stays healthy and that he can play. He played pretty well against Milwaukee, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
But if they don't trade him by the deadline and they're running it back with this team, where do they end?
Probably where they are right now. I think they're 8. Are they 10?
Yeah,
8 to 10.
They're 20 and 18 in the 8th spot in the West, which is playing time again.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of where they've been since they've won the title. They've been 6th seed, they've been 8th seed, they missed the playoffs entirely in the 9-10 or whatever they were. Like, that's kind of been where they have been for the past couple of years. So
the Rockets are at 6, which is the cutoff, and the Warriors are 4 games behind the Rockets. They are actually behind the Suns right now, the baby Suns with Devin Booker at 22 and 15.
They've been playing well lately. They almost beat Houston, and they beat OKC the night before.
The Lakers are probably going to fall back down a little bit.
Yeah.
They started out so well, but they're still 5.5 games over the Warriors. So Tim Kawakami mentioned one thing in that same podcast with Danny Emmerman, where he was saying he doesn't think the Warriors are out of the Giannis business. Now, in order for the Warriors to be in the Giannis business, they have to have all of their assets ready to go.
Yep. And so if you make any trade that includes any first-round picks in this Kuminga deal, you're probably out of the Giannis
thing. Completely out of the Giannis thing, I think.
But is it worth just like wasting this year for a chance at him in the offseason? It's not.
That's what you have to talk yourself into if that is the plan. You have to believe you have a great shot to get him to do that.
Yeah.
And I don't know, is that Steph saying, "Hey man, what's going on?" at the All-Star break? Like, it's like, I don't know. By the All-Star break, I think it's already too late, right? Because the trade deadline does it end like right before the All-Star break?
Yeah, it's too late by the All-Star break.
So yeah, I don't know.
I wonder if Steph would do that though, because that means he's trading. Like, Draymond. I just don't know if he's ever been. Yeah, he's trading Draymond. If he checks in and does that, so I don't know.
I think he's got to be okay with it by then. Right?
Yeah.
Like, Draymond's his boy. It will always be his boy.
I guess I just don't think he's done it in the past. I mean, I guess he did do it last year a little bit. I guess he knew that Wiggins would have to be moved in any type of deal, and he did do it last year a little bit. So maybe, but Draymond's just a whole different beast than Wiggs in terms of just like betrayal. I don't know. Yeah, man.
Draymond getting kicked out of that game the other day was so ridiculous.
He should not have gotten booted from that. The Utah one where he's yelling at the ref.
He's yelling at the ref, and then whomever, I don't know if it was Markkanen or Filipowski or someone just dunking where he's supposed to be because he's yelling for 3 seconds. Like, I looked, and I was like, maybe it was 3 seconds, but maybe it wasn't.
Yeah.
And
the thing is, if you ever wonder that,
NBA.
Yeah, it's if you even have to wonder that, it's never 3 seconds because they always give you it should be called the 4-second rule. If they're being honest, they give you 4 seconds. But Draymond's right. Like, there are some times where they're in there for a long time, and maybe he noticed one earlier in the evening and bounced. I don't know if he should have gotten the second tech as quick as he got one. I don't think he expected that he was going to get one there either. And then they've had a Kerr ejection, and then the Giannis Dre stuff was kind of interesting when I was watching. And Giannis was just talking, just letting him hear it.
I know, and Dre didn't really like. And some of it was, I'm sure Dre wanted to make sure that he stayed in that game because he saw it as winnable. But it's not like he like puffed his chest out or anything. He's just like, "I'm good. Like, just keep coming. I'm just gonna play you well." Dre picks and chooses who he yells at for sure.
Yeah. I mean, a sneaky good win against Milwaukee because that Clippers, I know they kind of have their number, but just like losing without Harden. It's a tough loss. And then they just 2 nights later, like a really good win against a Bucks team that, plays well when Giannis is there. Like, they have a good record when Giannis plays. I don't know what to make of this team. Do you? Like, I don't think you do either.
No, what it feels like is Groundhog's Day. It's just it just feels like the same team over and over and over again, no matter what they do.